And there's the other side of the aisle, by the way, and the other side of the presidential race, the Republican Party solidifying now behind Donald Trump after Ronna McDaniel resigned as the chairwoman. Today, the Republican National Committee voted in new leaders, candidates that Trump endorsed. The new co-chair of the committee, by the way, Lara Trump, the former president's daughter-in-law. All right, so he's got the daughter-in-law, not running the RNC, but basically the number two. Any worries?
Well, no, well, first of all, I think it is a unique situation that a daughter-in-law became number two. However, this is normal. I mean, at least on the Republican side, and I'm assuming on the Democrat side, your people come in and take over the party once you win the nomination. And so I don't think that this is. Again, it's different because it's a sister-in-law or daughter-in-law, whatever she is.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I actually don't think it's a big deal. I mean, like.
I think Reagan was an official. Reagan, during the Reagan years, I think he had a daughter that was part of the RNC or part of the RNC leadership. As a former state party chair for the Democrats, there's no issue with this, other than the fact it's got to work, if you will. And you've got to have the same goals and objectives. And the other thing is this: if they're trying to expand their party, when I look at that picture, not a lot of diversity up there.
Yeah, Bill Brock was the head of the party under Reagan, and I think that Reagan's.
Yeah, that's true.
I think she was like number 5 down. But I mean, I do agree with you.
But I would take issue with what Scott said, is because, you know, nepotism is not a good look in government. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You don't need to have your family.
But that's not government.
It's a party.
It's a political
You're trying
party.
to represent people in government, and you're putting nepotism.
It's a really difficult look. It does provide a talking point for Democrats. It further makes the case that Trumpism is ubiquitous in the Republican Party, and the case for that is very strong. I do think that as the party's nominee, or almost so, Trump does have the right to have leadership that he wants. He handpicked Ronna McDaniel before he got mad at her, and this is what happens, but nepotism is never a good look.
But Ronna, I just want to say something. Ronna, everyone needs to remember, is Romney's.
Yes.
There
was nepotism before.
Romney
Yeah,
family.
she's a Romney.
I'm not saying that Romney was president, but I mean, it's.
I hate nepotism in politics, though. It's rampant in California, and I just think it's dirty.
So, by the way, our Libby Dean, who follows the Trump campaign for us day in and day out, was talking to, if you could show the video, pop the video up again real quick, Chris LaCivita, who is in the middle there, I believe. But anyways, she asked him today about whether or not the Trump campaign is going to pay any of Donald Trump's legal bills, and he responded, quote, "Bleep no." He's not in there. Obviously, it wasn't a bleep. You get the idea. And then he said, no, no, no. But that is one of the issues.
Can I make another point about how this harms Trump? Because I've done a lot of research on surrogates and family members and their impact in administrations. When you install a family member and that person becomes part of the party apparatus, part of the government, it's more difficult for them to make the case that I know this person personally. I'm not part of the political establishment. And so they lose their outsider status. She was formerly a very effective campaigner for him. And now people will think it's just Republican, it's the machine, it's whatever.
I think with Joanna, you brought me closer to your position, because she's there to be Donald Trump's eyes, ears, and mind on the operation. And if they're not going to be paying his legal fees, we ought to be monitoring that, because he needs help with his legal fees. And without her there, they were paying his legal fees.
By the way, thank you for watching. And make sure you go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.